I'm going to show you how to go from this to this without knowing anything about music theory. The first thing I'm gonna do is click here and delete this sound, okay? So it doesn't sound, there's nothing here. I'm gonna open the piano roll of this, and clicking here, you're gonna have a lot of different scales. Just choose the one you prefer, but the safest ones are major or minor natural. I'm gonna choose minor natural, and for example, A minor. Now I'm gonna take this and clone it up, clone it down, and now put this in the different bars. Now if you go to the piano roll of the piano, you're gonna see these notes behind. If you don't see them, click Alt V, and you're gonna be able to see them. And now just make the chords. How? So simple. You're gonna choose first the root notes of the chords, the lower notes. And then to make the chords, you're gonna leave one note of the scale in between. For example, I have this. These notes that we see behind are the notes of the scale, right? So we're gonna leave one in between. This means that we're gonna have this, we're not gonna have this, and we're gonna have this. Again, we're gonna leave this blank and have this one. We have the chord. If you don't like it or want to have another touch, what you can do is to leave first two notes in between and then just one in between. So we leave two in between and then we leave one in between. Now just follow this for all the chords. It's this simple and you're gonna have a chord progression. And now that we have the basic chords is when we start applying different techniques to make them sound more professional. The first thing we're gonna do is to make chord inversions. Basically just taking one note of the chord and put it higher or lower. So for example, this would be an inversion, but also this, and also this would be an inversion. So what we're gonna do is to make these chords be like more flat, like in between these lines, for example, you know, that there are not big jumps. For example, what we're gonna do is take this one and put it one octave higher, and maybe also this one. So we go from this to this. But if you do this, my advice is that always take the root notes of the chord, the lower notes, you clone them one octave lower, so this way you keep them in the original order or the original way you meant to have them. So basically we're gonna have them again like this, but one octave lower. Also this way is gonna have a more deep and strong sound. The second tip is open the voices. Basically it's taking the chords and like stretch them. The thing that in my opinion sounds better for this is to take the middle note of the chord and put it one octave higher. Basically we're doing an inversion. So we go from this to this. Sounds way better. So let's do the same with the other ones. Tip number 3, add extra notes. The more notes you have, the fuller is gonna sound your chord. Of course, don't get too exaggerated. This sounds bad. So what I recommend to do is take the root notes and put them in this octave up here. As you can see here, we already had the notes, okay, because we moved them higher. So what we can do is maybe take this and put them here. Also, what you can do if you want to is, for example, you can take this one and put them here. Or for example, in these chords that we inverted them, we have now like a gap here. So maybe we can take these notes again and put them lower. Another note that you can add is the 7th, that usually sounds more emotional. But what's the 7th? If we check our scale, this is the root note of our key, and this is the first one. This is the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. But for every chord, the 7th is gonna be different. For example, the 7th of A, as we said, is G. So we're gonna take the G and we're gonna put it higher, the highest one, here for example. Then for our G chord, the 7th would be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, the F, so F. But as you can see, if you check this carefully, F is the previous note of the scale. So basically the 7th of E would be the D, and the 7th of F will be the E, is the previous note. And now we go from this to this. Now it sounds more beautiful, but maybe you don't want this 7th note to be that strong. So here comes tip number 4, and it's controlling the volume or velocity. In FL Studio down below here, you can see the velocity. This is like the volume of the notes. We're gonna choose these 4, and if we put them lower like this, they're gonna sound way more quiet. Almost we cannot hear them. Or if we put them like this, they're super strong. So basically, I'm gonna like have them around here. Last but not least, the tip number 5 is to make it sound more natural. But of course, this depends on where you're gonna use these chords. If you're gonna use this in a piano or in the strings in the breakdown, maybe you want to have them more natural. But if you're gonna use them with some synth in the drop, maybe you just want to have them really quantized and perfect. But if in case you want to have them more natural, do this. Click Alt R and you can have this randomizer. Here we want to control the velocity. As you can see down here, the volumes change, so every note is gonna sound different. Then we're gonna click Alt S. And what this is gonna do is change the beginning and the end of every note. And why does this sound more natural? Because when you play a piano, you don't press every note of the keyboard in the same strength at the same moment. There's always a bit of difference, so this is what you're doing here. Maybe you don't want to have them like this, and this may be too aggressive. So maybe you like it, but just a little bit. And then control also the end if you want to. And now we have this. But there's one extra thing that you can do to have really good chords for your songs if you don't know anything about music theory, and it's stealing the chords from famous songs. Because don't worry, chords don't have any copyright at all, and if you make them yourself, probably there's 1,000 songs with the same chord progression. And to know how to steal the chords of other songs, just subscribe to the channel and ask for it in the comments. See you in the next video.